Hi, I wanted to talk a little bit of poker strategy, in case there's people out there who are looking to learn, don't want to read books. I've actually never really read books. I kind of wanted to learn on my own, but I guess there are a lot of people out there who, like to consider what other people have to say. I've played poker for 9 years. Since I was 16, I've been doing it on and off. I only did it full time for about 2 years because I've been in school. I was in high school, I was in college, so I haven't ever played full time. But the whole time I was playing in my spare time, going to casinos a lot, and playing online poker. And there's two fields where I feel like I've become a relative expert. One with online poker, I play Pot Limit Omaha, and then when I play in cash game or when I play live, I usually don't play cash games. I usually just play tournaments, and the strategy that you employ is always specific to the type of game you're playing, and also it's best to adjust to the people that you're playing against, the people who are at your table. So I guess I'll start with a couple basic points that work, no matter what kind of poker you play. If you've seen the movie Rounders, there's a couple good points that movie stresses. One is never play above your bankroll. If you're playing a game where you can go broke, you shouldn't be playing that. If it's possible that you're going to lose all of your money, you should stay away as much as possible because there's always amounts that you can win and like build up your bankroll. And another important thing that that movie stresses a lot is that uh, the least important thing in poker is your cards. Because let's say you have the best possible cards. It's called the nuts. You have the best hand possible already made. It doesn't make a difference if you don't know how to play it. If you don't know how to bet it and how to extract money. And when you bluff, it doesn't matter what you have. Like you have to feel out what your opponent has. So that's to me that's the most important thing to realize is that um, your cards are the least important thing, and the most important thing is having a feel for the other players, what kind of players they are, and then also once you become more advanced at this, seeing how they play you, and taking advantage of that because players who are good at least are gonna develop a strategy against all types of different players. So I guess I'll start by talking about Pot Limit Omaha a little bit. The reason I gravitated towards that game, and I played that for probably about 6 or 7 years online, and I think it's very profitable and there's a lot of action in that game. It's one of the reasons I like it. But when I play online, I play tournaments sometimes, but I never play with Texas Hold'em, but never play Texas Hold'em cash games because it just seems like there's too much variability. Too much can happen, and you really can't read the other players. But with Pot Limit Omaha, there's okay. If you don't know what that game is, you get dealt four cards instead of two. And unlike in Texas Hold'em, where you would just play the best five card hand that you have, it doesn't matter if you play one card from your one of your whole cards or two of your whole cards or neither of them. You just play the board. In Omaha, your best five card hand has to be three cards from the board and two of your cards at all times. But since you have four cards, there have been a lot of pots that I've won where like I'm trying to play these two cards. I have like the nut flush draw with these two, but then all of a sudden I get a straight with the other two. Like I'm already all in or something like that, and the cards that I thought were meaningless end up winning it for me. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of action in that game, and one of the reasons is because even like bluffing, you're supposed to bluff only when you still have a shot to win the hand. So in that game, you always have more of a chance than in Texas Hold'em, where you might just be on a pure bluff. Like there's very little chance that you're gonna make a hand. But in Omaha, you still have a decent chance no matter what. So it kind of pays to be aggressive. And in all types of poker, you have to like you should pick a style of play, but in the end, you're gonna have to learn how to take advantage of that style and learn how to deviate from it. The main style that I like to play with is being aggressive, because that's basically that makes it easier to make your decisions. It's like you're narrowing down the field when you make raises like early on and bet throughout it. Then people are gonna throw away marginal hands, and it's a lot easier to beat one person in a showdown or to make one person fold than it is to make an entire table fold. Um, see, also important. I guess most of the stuff I'm talking about actually goes for either pot limit Omaha right now or for Texas. Um, is position. Position is one of the most important factors. Is that if you're closer to the dealer button, if you're the last person to act in a hand, that gives you a sort of power. It can also set up a trap for you to be check raised, but generally, the one who makes bets is the one who's controlling the action, so you're in control of the hand, and, so that makes your bets kind of, it makes them a little bit stronger. And also, like, gives you the chance to see what everyone else does, so, yeah, it puts you in a much better position. Um, so yeah, there's playing aggressive, there's playing tight, and playing loose. And I mean, and at any given point, you have three options in a hand. You can make it more money. You can raise or bet. You can check or call, and you can fold. Those are pretty much, yeah, the three options you have at any given point. Uh, and so an aggressive player bets or raises a lot. A tight player folds a lot, and a loose player calls a lot. So that's how you distinguish the three types. And as I said, that when people get good, they start cueing into what you're doing. So when someone starts getting a read that, okay, this guy's really aggressive, he's gonna develop a strategy against you. So the best way to counter that is to just like realize how the people perceive you, realize how they play you, and to switch it up on them. It's called changing gears. And that's actually you can do that in cash games also, but I think that's a really, really efficient tool in tournaments. Is that like for the longest time, you're playing one way, and then all of a sudden it changes up, and most people do that at different stages of the tournament. Like all of a sudden the blinds are going up. There's less people. Let's say there's only 20 people left, 30 people left. So they want to take advantage of the situation. So they change gears then, but it's a good idea to do, but also if you do it at a time that's totally random, people won't see it coming, and all of a sudden you just like take all their chips and they're like, whoa, 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 what just happened? Um, s- so yeah, I think that's definitely a really good approach, good strategy. Um, and I think one of the bigger things that most people just don't think about is the stuff that's kind of away from the poker table. Is that it's good to set yourself up, mentally before you play. Is to like don't worry about the outcome. Don't say like I have to win this, because sometimes desperation, like you might just like go out right away. You might be trying to force it. So just like I'm gonna be confident. You should tell yourself this like on your way to the casino or whatever before you start playing. Like I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna make good decisions. I'm gonna be patient. It's one of the most important things about poker is being patient. Is to not force things. Is to wait for things to happen. And yeah, and just try to have fun with it. Also, and when poker becomes a burden, when you start, I don't know, becoming too anxious about it, start becoming stressed out that you lost, poker really isn't fun anymore. And I don't know, it's a game, it's something to be enjoyed. It's like chess or something like that. It's a mental warfield, basically, that you're engaging with other people. Another strategy that I think works pretty well, especially for me, is to target certain players when when people sit down sometimes even I just say to myself, I'm going after this guy. Like I want to get involved in a hand with him. And it's usually because they're really aggressive. Um, their money's just kind of going around. They like to bluff a lot. They like to make big bluffs, you know? And I don't know if this is a little bit racist, but anytime there's an Asian person sitting at the table, I specifically target them because I know that most Asian people, maybe not most Asian people, but most Asian people who gamble, they like to gamble. They like to really put their money out there in situations that I find a little bit absurd. So, I'd very much like to take advantage of that. But yeah, so that's kind of when you target someone, you're just like sitting there like with a bullseye over their head. It's like I'm gonna get involved in hands when they call. When I see them call, I'm calling, or I'm raising. Just decide that before and try to get a feel for how they play and just make it happen. Just go after them, attack them. Um, so it's also best to have a specific strategy in mind. With the tournament, you can really like make it be on a timetable. You can say to yourself at the beginning when it first starts, I'm gonna play like really tight. I don't know. I come in pretty aggressive because I feel like other players are tight, but it really depends on the situation more than anything else. Like your strategy, you should have a strategy going in, but the most important thing is to like recognize your environment and adapt to it and figure out who you want to play with. Sometimes it's best to stay away from people. Sometimes people are willing to do anything, and sometimes people just kind of have your number a little bit. So it's kind of best to try to stay away. If you don't do that, that means that you have a really big ego, which is a pretty bad thing for a poker player to have. And poker players actually do have it a lot, and it's one of their biggest downfalls. Um, I guess I'll try to talk a little bit more specifically about Omaha. Let me see. Pot limit Omaha. Yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of action in that game. There's a lot of possibilities. Maybe getting a phone call here. Hang on one second. Yo, what's up? No, I'm sick. I guess it's a possibility, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go within the next hour. How much? Like 120? For sure. Yeah, are you gonna be at home or? Hey, you know what I'm doing right now, by the way? I'm recording a video on YouTube right now about poker. It's actually recording. Yeah, it's conversations in there. You want to say hi to everyone? He says hi. Um, cool. I'll give you a call. Yeah, see it. He doesn't really play poker. It's fine. Um, so yeah, I guess that's it for right now. I'll try to go into more detail at a later time. Hope you enjoyed.